Okay, let's unpack this. Today's deep dive, it takes us into the raw and often unsettling world of Charles Bukowski. We're looking at these excerpts you shared.
Right. And they are fascinating, definitely. A bit disturbing sometimes, maybe?
Yeah, disturbing is a good word. It's a look at the fringes, isn't it? Society, the human condition, all that. We're going to navigate through these stories. Grueling labor, desperate living, really strange encounters.
And just plain bizarre stuff, too.
Exactly. So the mission here is really to pull out the key insights, the narratives that kind of jumped out at us,
Yeah.
spark some aha moments, hopefully, without getting totally bogged down in every single gritty detail.
Sounds good. Because there is a lot of grit. What strikes me is just how unflinching it all is. No sugarcoating.
Not at all. And the sources, they're like these interconnected vignettes,
Oh.
short story bits,
Seems like it.
and you see these themes again and again. Struggling to survive, the indignity of certain jobs.
Fleeting relationships, often very strange ones.
Right. And always this undercurrent of dark humor. And resignation, maybe.
Yeah.
It's potent. So really shines a harsh light on things we don't often see so directly.
And you wonder why it resonates. Maybe it taps into that questioning of what we think is normal or acceptable. These stories push those boundaries.
Okay, so we're going to explore a few main threads running through these. First, the brutal side of manual labor. That feeling of being dehumanized, like in the slaughterhouse stuff.
Yeah, that hits you right away.
Then we'll get into the strange, sometimes absurd encounters. Landlords, drunks, really bizarre characters.
Definitely some memorable ones there.
And finally, we'll touch on that recurring theme of trying to find connection or maybe just escape in this harsh world, often in, well, unconventional ways. Sound like a plan?
Yeah, that sounds like a good roadmap. It really makes you think, what is it about these stark stories that grabs you?
Let's start right there with the work. The descriptions are so visceral, that slaughterhouse narrative.
Right. The desperation for work just smashes right into the horror of the job itself.
Totally. That shimmering blood film, the masses of dead. He runs away immediately, almost instinct.
But then he goes back. Lies about it all.
Yeah, lies about his experience, his health.
Yeah.
It just highlights that desperate need to survive, right? Even if it means, denying reality. And those little details.
Like the boots.
The two small boots, yeah. And the bloody smile. It makes it so real, so tangible.
But that contrast is key, isn't it? Needing the money versus the just soul-crushing work makes you think about the real cost of survival sometimes. It's not just physical.
No, it feels like it erodes your self-worth, being reduced to that.
And the second slaughterhouse bit, with Thurman and the other laborers, just as stark.
If not more so. The relentless nature of it. Throwing mountains of hindquarters felt like lead, like cannonballs, like death. Heavy stuff.
Literally and figuratively, yeah.
And that image of him swimming in blood, feeling like they're deliberately pushing him to his limit. It's just this feeling of being overwhelmed, exploited.
It's more than just showing a tough job, though. It forces you to look at the power dynamics. Who's doing this work? What's their place?
Right. You feel like just a cog in this brutal machine.
Exactly.
Then there's that surreal part, moving the dead oxen, the weight, the coldness, described so vividly.
But then his mind wanders off.
Yeah, to Wagnerian operas, cold beer, a par on a sofa. This weird juxtaposition between the gruesome reality and these fleeting escapes in his head.
Like the mind desperately trying to get away.
And the pressure, not to drop the ox, tied to, like you said, American success, masculinity. It adds this layer of almost absurd expectation onto this horrible task.
It really does. That idea that failing physically means failing personally, such a narrow view of worth.
And even the tiny break he gets. Interrupted. Move the truck. Even though he says he can't drive it well.
No respect for that at all.
And the ending. His resignation, that blunt farewell to the foreman. Send me my pay. Or stick it up their ass. I don't give a damn.
It just captures the total exhaustion, doesn't it? And the feeling that his labor meant absolutely nothing.
It's almost like defiance is the only dignity left.
That abruptness really shows how disposable people are in that system. Your effort means zilch. Easily replaced.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder how many people feel that same worthlessness.
Okay, so moving away from the pure physical toil.
Yeah.
The excerpts are just full of these bizarre, unsettling encounters, too.
Oh, yeah. Like in that Texas rooming house.
Right. The old man with the poker making that is sound,
Yes.
thinking the narrator's a rent boy. It sets such a strange, unsettling tone right off the bat.
Almost dreamlike, but creepy.
And then the landlady scrubbing the floor, her ass going back and forth. And just boom, it's this blunt proposition.
It throws you into this world where normal social rules just don't seem to apply. Everything's very blunt, transactional almost. Jar.
Like people strip down to basics, needs, desires.
Yeah, and later in the bar, that interaction is just wild.
The big guy saying Texans stink, and the narrator agrees.
And gets punched for it.
It's so absurdly violent. Just pops up out of nowhere.
The randomness of it is striking. Like, danger could just erupt for no logical reason.
And even the room he rents, supposed to be a sanctuary, right? Not safe either. Finds the mosquito netting.
And then the cleaning woman just bursts in.
Yeah, the large black cleaning woman. Doesn't care he's naked. They end up sharing beers.
Yeah.
And, well, more.
It's this series of events that feels both surreal and strangely, I don't know, matter-of-fact in the telling.
The lack of pretense you mentioned earlier. Bypassing social niceties. It's unsettling, but maybe honest in its own weird way.
Possibly, but still unsettling.
Then there's the newspaper article exaggerating some romantic thing, which leads to his editor calling, worried he's in the worst whorehouse in the city.
The media distortion, even small scale, how easily things get twisted.
And the woman on the bus asks him to get off with her.
And the reason is just brutal.
His face. Tragic and a little bit ugly. Another one of those strange, hurtful interactions just appearing out of the blue.
That raw, almost cruel honesty makes you think about how people judge each other. So superficial. No filter at all in these interactions. Shocking, but revealing too.
Okay, now the segment with Harry and Sarah. This introduces something particularly dark and surreal.
Right. Harry, thinking Sarah's a witch who made guys disappear right before their eyes, sets this almost gothic tone.
Which then clashes with Sarah's own behavior towards Henry, the narrator in this bit. Seems manipulative, destructive.
And completely delusional, saying she's the savior of the world by shrinking him to solve overpopulation.
It's this shift into, yeah, fantasy, but a really dark, disturbing one. Like an exploration of power dynamics taken to an absolute extreme.
Total domination disguised with this bizarre justification.
And the shrinking itself. You see it happening.
Yeah.
His clothes don't fit, the car seat.
Really?
He ends up only 60 centimeters tall.
Kept on a silver chain.
Yeah. That's such a bizarre form of control. And even his attempts at intimacy, his protests, I am no midget, I am a man. They're just belittled, literally diminished.
The physical shrinking is such a potent metaphor, isn't it? For his identity, his agency, just being eroded away. He's becoming less and less himself.
Is manhood directly challenged, undermined?
Right.
And it keeps going. Down to 15 centimeters, she carries him in her purse.
Yeah.
Makes him dance, my little one, on the radio.
God, that's just awful.
And even after he escapes, after Sarah's dead, he's still too small to open the refrigerator. That detail really lands.
It shows the lasting impact, doesn't it? It's not just escaping physical control, it's the lingering effect on just functioning.
Even free, he's still defined by it. The absurdity of being the answer to overpopulation at 15 centimeters. It's darkly funny, but deeply tragic too.
Highlights how even the most outlandish stuff can have real, lasting consequences on someone's sense of self, their place in the world.
Now, the fuck machine. That storyline is a whole other level of bizarre.
Yeah. Tony's secretive talk about the German scientist, the invention, it builds this weird conspiratorial vibe.
Leading to von Brauchlitz, eccentric guy, and his daughter, Tanja.
And the first encounter with Tanja is described quite sensually.
It is, which makes the reveal that she's a machine even more jarring.
Definitely. It forces you to think about intimacy, desire, what connection even means. The attraction described in human terms, then bang, she's artificial. It's meant to shock, maybe question our own interactions.
And von Brauchlitz, his attitude towards her, almost paternal but really possessive.
Yeah, and he gets distressed when she seems to want a normal relationship. It's darkly funny but creepy.
And then suddenly just graphic violence. Tanja dismantling Indian Mike. Shocking brutality.
It's a stark reminder, maybe, of the danger when we treat others like objects.
The inventor's emotional investment, his jealousy, it's unsettling, blurs the lines between creator and creation, raises questions about control, ownership.
And the violence illustrates the consequence of dehumanization. The objectified thing suddenly has terrifying power.
And after that happens, the conversation is so casual about consecrating the room number.
And the police, government agencies just arrive almost nonchalantly. It just amps up the absurdity.
Totally. Then you get the ad for the inflatable doll by von Brauchlitz & Co. and the narrator's encounter with it. Lonely, unsatisfying.
Really emphasizes those themes again. Failed connection, desire objectified, Very bleak, cynical.
The official reaction, the bureaucracy getting interested in something so bizarre, speaks to a kind of societal numbness, maybe.
And the inflatable doll,
Right.
just this sad, pathetic substitute for real human interaction, underscores the loneliness.
That final thought he has about 1/2 fuck machines disguised as people on the street. Wow, that adds such a cynical edge to it all.
It's a powerful, disturbing idea, suggests this pervasive dehumanization, people reduced to instruments, no real depth or connection.
Okay, then there's the Agentur für zufriedenstellende Dienstleistungen, the agency section. This is like a nightmare vision of dehumanizing labor, almost Orwellian.
Yeah, Bagley's methods. Extracting courage with some machine. Deeply disturbing.
Reducing courage, something so human to a commodity you can just extract.
It feels like a really unsettling commentary on the modern workforce, doesn't it? The idea that individuality, essential human qualities, can be just suppressed, manipulated for productivity, conformity.
That courage extraction is such a chilling metaphor for those pressures. Suppress anything different.
And Herman Tellman's transformation into this docile, unthinking drone.
It's a chilling picture of losing yourself completely just to get or keep a job. Total conformity.
And how casually they dispose of people who don't fit anymore. So cruel. While Bagley's obsessed with, what, aging actresses? Superficial stuff?
Paints a really bleak picture of societal values, doesn't it? What we
Yeah.
prioritize, what we just discard.
Tillman's loss of agency, just parroting empty phrases, deeply unsettling, makes you think about the cost of blindly following the rules. And Bagley's shallow interests just highlight this moral emptiness at the core.
But then Barney Anderson arrives. Sees right through it.
Right, his defiant outburst. Boy, if you ain't a couple of rimless assholes.
It's this brief flash of resistance, clarity. But it ultimately just reinforces the agency's power. He's dismissed immediately.
Anderson's outburst, yeah, quickly silenced. It's a powerful indictment of the system, shows some people see through it, but resistance feels futile against those structures.
So the deep dive sort of concludes with these more fragmented bits.
Yeah.
Almost dreamlike vignettes. They're just
Absolutely.
as telling.
Still hitting those core themes.
Like the sudden, violent encounter with the drunk, pissing man. The narrator's reaction seems maybe over the top.
Could be seen as that underlying tension, anger, just boiling over. The unpredictability again.
And the struggle to write about, of all things, flying, copulating monkeys.
The writer's block maybe speaks to the difficulty of finding meaning or order in a world that feels so chaotic, so senseless sometimes.
Then there's Jerry Borst. Loses all his money.
But finds this weird optimism in moving to New York. Best thing that could have happened, he
It's
says.
such an unexpected twist. Finding hope right in the middle of failure.
Classic Bukowski move, right? Finding that glimmer, even if it seems twisted, refusing to be totally defeated.
And then the corpse stealing with Tony and Bill.
Bizarre. Their drunken thoughts about the body, planning to dump it in the ocean.
The complete casualness about a dead body,
Yeah.
so unsettling, really pushes boundaries of normal behavior.
That descent into the macabre, the nonchalant attitude towards death, it shows this detachment from conventional morality. Like, death itself is just another absurd event in this world.
You also get that chaotic scene, Tito and Baby confronted by the police.
Yeah, the cops line. 5th time, last 10 days. You think we enjoy arresting people?
Gives you this quick snapshot of the routine chaos in their lives. Even the authorities sound weary, resigned to it.
A glimpse of life on the margins, always on the edge of trouble.
And finally, that really disturbing bit, picking apples and pears near a war zone with Herb and Talbot.
Oh, that one is rough.
Ending with Herb forcing Talbot to eat the Siemens-Scholled watermelon, and Herb just casually admitting sexual violence.
That line about ramming it between the tits and the sea of cum, it's brutal. Leaves a really foul taste.
Yeah, that final vignette is particularly jarring, underscores this pervasive violence, moral decay running through a lot of these pieces. The casual cruelty is just deeply unsettling.
Leaves a lasting, very uncomfortable impression.
So, okay, wrapping this up, what does it all mean? For you, sharing these stories, this dive into Bukowski's world, it just reveals this relentless picture of marginalization, right?
Yeah, and the absurdity of societal norms, that brutal search for meaning or connection in a world that feels indifferent. or hostile.
We hope that by looking at these key themes, we've maybe given you a shortcut, a way to navigate this pretty challenging stuff.
Yeah.
You wanted to get knowledge quickly, but thoroughly.
And hopefully, by focusing on those recurring motifs, how these seemingly random stories connect, you get a deeper sense of his core concerns. Without getting lost in every single detail, recognizing the patterns, what they might say about the human condition.
We've definitely seen the toll of that exploitative labor, physical and emotional. The sheer unpredictable weirdness, sometimes violence of human interaction.
And those desperate, unconventional attempts to find solace. Alcohol, fleeting encounters, bizarre fantasies.
And that dark humor.
Yeah.
It really feels like a necessary coping mechanism, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Facing these often unbearable realities.
It does. And that recurring image, the fuck machine, literal and metaphorical, it seems to crystallize this deep cynicism about real connection in a world that treats people like objects of desire or just utility.
Yeah. So this collection, it really leaves us with this provocative thought for you to mull over. In a world, even now, filled with its own kinds of fuck machines, maybe more subtle ones, systems, structures that feel like they strip away individuality, block genuine connection, what does it actually mean to be fully alive? How do you resist being reduced to just a function?
It's a question that definitely lingers long after you finish reading or after this deep dive ends.
Something to keep thinking about. And thanks again for sharing these sources with us. Incredibly intense, thought-provoking stuff.
Indeed. Challenging, uncomfortable, but maybe valuable perspectives on the human experience. Thanks for bringing them to our attention.